Every dream has a beginning. Ours didn't begin on 50 acres. It didn't begin with cattle or gardens or hayfields or tractors. It began in a little townhouse with a dream and a shovel. If you've just found our channel, you might look around this farm and assume we've been here for a long time. Maybe you think we grew up farming. Maybe you think that this land has been in our family for generations. Or maybe you think this life was simply handed to us. And honestly, I don't blame you. When you see only the finished picture, it's easy to miss the years that came before it. Because today you see gardens, you see animals, you see hayfields, you see tractors, you see projects, you see freezers filled with food we raised ourselves, but none of this appeared overnight. Just a few short years ago, our family lived somewhere very different. Not on a farm, not in the country, not surrounded by rolling fields. We lived in a small townhouse community. And honestly, looking back, that little townhouse was exactly what we needed. It wasn't where our story ended, but it was exactly where God chose for it to begin. Sometimes we think our dreams have to begin in perfect circumstances. We've learned they usually don't. God has a beautiful way of preparing us, long before we realize He's preparing us. Looking back now, I can see His fingerprints all over our journey. At the time, we couldn't. We were simply taking one small step after another. It's funny. Back then, we thought we were dreaming about owning a farm. But now I realize God wasn't just preparing a place for us. He was preparing us for that place. He was teaching us patience, contentment, stewardship, gratitude, and something I'll never forget, that faithfulness in the little things that matters. Because if we couldn't faithfully care for one small garden, how could He expect us to faithfully care for 50 acres? That little backyard became our classroom. Today, we're incredibly grateful. Grateful for this land, grateful for the lessons, grateful for every blessing God has poured into our lives. But if there's one thing we hope you discover as you watch our story, it's this. This farm didn't begin here. It began with hope, with prayer, with learning, with mistakes, with perseverance, and with a family that simply refused to stop believing that someday God might open a door, and one day He did. If I'm being honest, this little townhouse will always hold a special place in our hearts. Not because it was our dream home, but because it was where our dreams first began to grow. When people picture homesteading, they often imagine wide open fields, big red barns, tractors, and acres of land. That certainly isn't what we had. It was wonderfully ordinary. But somewhere in the middle of that ordinary life, a dream quietly started taking root. It wasn't loud. It didn't happen overnight. It simply grew. One little idea at a time. The more we learned about gardening, the more we wanted to grow. The more we learned about preserving food, the more we wanted to preserve. The more we learned about homesteading, the more our hearts were drawn to it. It wasn't about escaping modern life. It was about creating a richer one. If there was one thing we became really good at, it was finding creative ways to grow food. That tiny little backyard became our little experiment. Every square foot mattered. We built raised beds. We tucked vegetables into every corner we could find. We planted in pots. We planted vertically. If there was sunlight, we tried growing something there. Looking back now, it's honestly amazing how much food that little yard produced. Not because it was a large space, but because we poured so much love into it. Every tomato, every pepper, every cucumber, every handful of herbs felt like a little victory. And every harvest reminded us that small beginnings can still produce incredible things. During those years, we found ourselves watching other families here on YouTube. Farmers, gardeners, homesteaders, families who had built lives that inspired us. They probably had no idea, but they were planting seeds in our hearts. Every video reminded us that ordinary people really could build extraordinary lives. We'd sit together and dream. What if someday? What if we had a little bit more land? What if we could raise animals? What if we could grow enough food to fill our own freezers? Those conversations became some of our favorite conversations. Not because we knew how we'd get there, but because dreaming together gave us hope. And sometimes hope is enough to keep you moving forward. Long before we owned 50 acres, we made a decision. We weren't going to wait. We didn't know when or even if we would ever own land. But we knew one thing. If the opportunity ever came, we wanted to be ready. So instead of waiting for our dream, we started preparing for it, one skill at a time. One of the first skills we wanted to learn was preserving food. There was something deeply satisfying about taking fresh food and knowing it could nourish your family for months later. At first, it felt intimidating. Pressure canners can be a little scary the first time you use them. We double-checked recipes, read instructions over and over, wondered if we were doing everything right, but little by little, our confidence grew. Soon, Shelves that once sat empty began filling with jars. Every ping of a ceiling lid felt like a little celebration. Not because we had mastered canning, but because we had learned something we didn't know the week before. And that is a wonderful feeling. Before long, our kitchen became one of our favorite classrooms. We learned to bake fresh bread. We even started making homemade wine. And every fall, we'd make a family tradition out of visiting local orchards. Apple picking wasn't just about bringing home fruit. It was about slowing down, making memories, teaching our kids where food came from. Then we'd head home, making applesauce together and preserving it for months ahead. Looking back now, those weren't just recipes. They were family traditions being built. And those moments around the kitchen table are some of our favorite memories. As we learned more, our curiosity kept growing. We started buying meat from local farms whenever we could. Sometimes we'd find a great sale at the grocery store. Then we'd bring it home and learn something completely new. Grinding meat, making homemade bratwurst, sausages, snack sticks. We weren't experts. Far from it. Sometimes recipes turned out absolutely amazing, and sometimes they didn't. But every attempt taught us something, and every lesson made the next attempt get a little bit better. One thing we've learned over the years is that experience is a wonderful teacher. You simply have to be willing to be a beginner. One of our favorite projects started with something incredibly small: seeds. Every winter, our living room just transformed into a little greenhouse. Wire shelves and grow lights, hundreds of tiny plants growing inside red Solo cups. To most people, it probably looked a little crazy. To us, though, it looked like possibility. Every little sprout reminded us that amazing things often begin when no one is looking. A seed spends so much of its life growing beneath the surface before anyone ever notices it. Dreams are a lot like that. Sometimes God is doing His greatest work where no one else can see it. At the time, we honestly thought we were learning recipes, gardening, and food preservation. We didn't realize God was preparing us for a completely different life. Every loaf of bread, every jar on the pantry shelf, every seed, every mistake, every success, every late night watching YouTube, every conversation about maybe someday, none of it was wasted. It was all preparing us for something much bigger than we could imagine. Looking back now, I don't think the dream started the day we bought the farm. I think it started every time we chose to learn one more thing. The beautiful thing about dreams is that they rarely arrive all at once. More often, they arrive one faithful step at a time. And although we didn't know it yet, our next step was about to change our lives forever. You know, there were a lot of evenings when we'd sit together after the kids had gone to bed and we'd dream. Dream about what life would look like someday. Would we ever own land? Would we ever raise animals? Would we ever grow enough food to truly become self-sufficient? Or was this little townhouse where our story would always stay? The truth is, we didn't know. But we kept dreaming anyway. Because sometimes faith simply means believing that God is writing a story, even when you can't see the next chapter. Then, one ordinary day, God quietly opened a door we never could have opened on our own, a door we'd prayed about, talked about, and dreamt about for years. Our dreams suddenly had an address, 50 acres. I still remember driving down that driveway for the first time, looking across the fields, trying to imagine what this place might become. It was so exciting, beautiful, overwhelming, and honestly, a little frightening. Because dreaming about something and actually stepping into it are two very different things. Most people would fill a moving truck with furniture. Apparently, we filled ours with a forest. Trees, berry bushes, vegetables, flowers, herbs, anything we thought we could save came with us. Looking back, I don't think we realized just how much we had grown, not just in plants, but in ourselves. When we unloaded everything and laid all of those plants across the yard, I think that's when it finally hit us. How had all of this come from a tiny townhouse? That little backyard had been hiding an entire future. Looking at that picture today, I don't just see plants. I see Saturday mornings, family projects, dirty hands, late evenings after work, and learning, failing, and trying again. Years of hope. They weren't simply plants, they were dreams. We weren't just moving a garden, we were moving our dream. Those little plants became an orchard. They became gardens. They became reminders that dreams really do grow, slowly, quietly, one faithful season at a time. Standing there that first evening, looking across those 50 acres, we thought we had reached our dream. But looking back now, I realize we hadn't reached the end of the story. We had simply arrived at the place where the next chapter would begin. God had given us the opportunity. Now it was our turn to faithfully steward it. It's funny, for years we dreamt about becoming farmers. Then one day, without even realizing it, we were. Not because we suddenly knew everything, not because we had everything figured out, but because every new day brought another opportunity to learn. And every little step made this place feel a little bit more like home. Not long after we moved here, we took one of the biggest leaps we'd ever taken. We bought our first 3 steers. I'll never forget watching them step off that trailer. They were standing in our pasture. For years, we'd imagined that moment. Now, it was real. Suddenly, all those years of reading, watching, learning were no longer preparing us. We were actually doing it. We were becoming the very people we had dreamt of becoming. Little by little, our farm began to grow. First came the laying hens, then our hogs, then our meat chickens. Every new animal brought excitement and a whole new list of things we didn't know. There were mistakes and questions and late nights researching, early mornings checking on animals, moments where we looked at each other and thought, are we doing this right? But that's the beautiful thing about learning. Confidence doesn't come before you begin. It comes because you began. Every season taught us something new. Ryan spent countless hours designing and building. He built mobile chicken tractors, a feeding station for our hogs, even a custom wooden crate so we could safely transport them. Looking back, those weren't simply projects. They were pieces of a dream, being built one board at a time. Every screw, every cut, every late evening in the workshop was another step toward the life we've been praying for. And as our animals became established, our gardens began to grow too. The little backyard garden that we had poured so much love into had finally found room to stretch its legs. Rows became larger, harvests became bigger. We planted an orchard and watched the trees take root. We built a greenhouse, expanded every chance we had. It felt like every season brought another opportunity to grow. Some years the harvests were incredible. Other years, nature reminded us that farming has a wonderful way of keeping you humble. The weather doesn't always cooperate. Plants don't always thrive. Animals sometimes teach you difficult lessons. But every season, without fail, taught us something. And honestly, we wouldn't trade those lessons for anything. Then, one of those moments happened that we'll never forget. Our first steer was processed. I'll never forget opening the freezer and standing there, looking at boxes filled with beef that we had raised ourselves. It wasn't about how much was in the freezer. It was about everything that freezer represented. Years of dreaming, learning, wondering if we'd ever get here, and suddenly, there it was. That evening, we cooked steaks from our own farm, poured glasses of our homemade wine, sat down together as a family, and before we ate, we thanked God. Not because the meal was extravagant, but because every single bite reminded us of how faithful He had been. That dinner wasn't simply a meal, it was a celebration. And about a dream that had finally become reality. Not long after that, we learned how to process our own meat chickens. Fresh eggs became part of our everyday life. Our hogs were processed. The freezers slowly started to fill again. We found someone to cut and bale our hay while we worked forward to owning our own equipment and do it ourselves one day. And little by little, the pieces kept falling into place. not all at once, and not overnight. One faithful decision, one season, one lesson at a time. Looking back now, I don't think this journey was ever just about filling our freezers, or growing bigger gardens, or raising livestock. Those things are wonderful, but they aren't what changed us. What changed us was the journey. Learning together, making mistakes together, solving problems together, praying together, celebrating together. This farm has given us food, yes. But most importantly, it has given our family memories, purpose, confidence, and a deeper appreciation for the blessings God provides every single day. Little by little, one faithful decision at a time, our dream wasn't just becoming a farm. It was becoming a way of life. And although we didn't realize it then, God still had even bigger plans waiting for us. Because this journey was about to become something much bigger than ourselves. It was about to become a story worth sharing. And before long, we found ourselves dreaming again. Not because what we had wasn't enough, but because dreams have a funny way of continuing to grow. One of those dreams is this little farm store that we're building here on the property. For years, we dreamt about growing healthy food for our family. Now, we're working towards sharing that food with our community. It's still a work in progress. There are walls that need to be painted, projects to finish, licenses to receive, and plenty of work still ahead. But every brushstroke, every screw, every late evening spent working feels like another small step towards something we've prayed about for a very long time. And somewhere along the way, we really realized something. People weren't only interested in what we were growing, they wanted to know how we got here. They wanted to hear about the mistakes and the learning, the victories, the setbacks, the real story. And that's when another dream quietly began. We decided to give our farm a name, Whitetail Acres Farm. A name that finally gave this little piece of land an identity. But more importantly, it gave us a place to invite others into the journey. Because this channel has never been about pretending we've had everything figured out. Quite the opposite. We're still learning. We're still experimenting. We're still making mistakes. Still asking questions. Still celebrating those little victories. And honestly, we hope that never changes. If you've watched any of our videos, you've probably noticed that we don't hide the failures, because failure has been one of those greatest teachers. Every garden that struggled, every project that didn't go according to plan, every lesson learned the hard way, has helped shape the farm you see today. And if sharing those experiences helps someone else avoid the same mistake, then they're worth sharing. As we've looked back over this journey, we've realized something. The farm was never really the destination. It's simply the place where God continues teaching us about patience, about stewardship, about gratitude, about perseverance, about slowing down, about finding joy in the simple things, and most importantly, about trusting Him one season at a time. Sometimes people ask us what's next. The honest answer, we don't fully know. We still have dreams of continuing to grow, dreams of serving our community through our farm store, dreams of becoming even more self-sufficient, dreams of learning new skills, of leaving something meaningful to our children. And somehow, I have a feeling God isn't finished writing this story yet. If our story has taught us anything, it's this. Don't wait. Don't wait until you have more land. Don't wait until you know everything. Don't wait until life slows down. Don't wait until the timing feels perfect. Because perfect timing rarely comes. Start where you are. Use what you have. Learn one new skill. Plant one seed. Support one local farmer. Bake one loaf of bread. Teach your children where food comes from. Take one small step toward the life you've been dreaming about. Because one small step has a very good way of changing everything. Years ago, our dream lived inside a tiny townhouse. Today it lives here. And someday our children will tell their own stories. Maybe they'll build on what we've started. Maybe they'll choose a different path. Either way, our greatest hope isn't that they inherit the farm. It's that they inherit the courage to dream, the willingness to work, the humility to keep learning, and a faith that trusts God with every season of life. When we first picked up a shovel in that little backyard, we never imagined it would lead us here. And if someone had shown us this view back then, I'm not sure we would have believed it. But that's the beautiful thing about God. He often asks us to take the first step before He shows us where the path will lead. Looking back now, we can see His faithfulness in every chapter. Not because every season was easy, but because He never stopped walking beside us. Our story is still being written. There are more dreams, more mistakes, more lessons and harvests, more seasons, more adventures waiting just beyond the horizon. And we'd be honored if you join us. Welcome to Whitetail Acres Farm. We are so glad you're here. This is only the beginning.